When the Sea Remembers Us continuation, the evening storm. By late afternoon, the sunlight had softened into amber. The waves outside whispered with more intent now, carrying the hush before rain. Inside the cafe, Elena moved quietly, wiping the counter, her thoughts caught somewhere between memory and the rhythm of the ocean. Layla watched her from the corner table, sketchbook open but forgotten. The light from the window framed Elena in gold. Even the shadows seemed gentle around her. "You're thinking again," Layla said softly. Elena looked up. "You make it sound like a bad habit." "It's a beautiful one," Layla replied. "I just wish I knew where your mind goes." Elena smiled faintly. "It goes to you. Most of the time." That made Layla pause. The room felt suddenly smaller, the hum of the espresso machine fading under the sound of the sea. "Most of the time?" she teased, though her voice trembled. Elena nodded. "You're in every thought that feels like home." Outside, thunder rolled in the distance, low and heavy. The sea began to shift, waves curling higher, the sky turning a pale silver. Layla stood and moved beside her at the counter. "Looks like a storm's coming," she said. "It always finds us," Elena murmured. Layla turned, her expression soft. "Maybe it just wants to remind us how close we are when everything else falls away." For a long moment, they said nothing. The cafe lights flickered once, then steadied. The smell of rain touched the air before a single drop fell. Elena stepped to the doorway, looking out. The beach was empty now, chairs stacked, umbrellas closed. The first drops hit the sand, darkening it in scattered circles. Layla came behind her, close enough that Elena could feel her breath at her shoulder. "Do you remember the first time we were caught in a storm?" Elena nodded. "You laughed the entire time. Said the sea was trying to baptize us." Layla smiled. "Maybe it did. Maybe that's when it all began." The rain grew heavier, a curtain of silver between them and the horizon. Without thinking, Elena stepped out into it. The water ran down her face, cold and clean. "Elena?" Layla called, laughing, grabbing a towel. "You're going to freeze." Elena turned, her hair plastered to her skin, her robe clinging to her shape. "Come out here," she said. Layla hesitated. "You're mad." "Maybe," Elena said, grinning. "But the sea remembers mad people." With a laugh, Layla ran out after her, the sand cooled beneath her feet. The rain fell harder, soaking her dress, her hair tumbling loose from its bun. They were both laughing now, spinning in the downpour like two people who had nothing left to hide from. For a few minutes, it felt like the world had turned just for them. The wind roared, the water rose to their ankles, and the sky cracked open with light. Layla stopped first, catching her breath, the laughter fading into something quieter. Elena looked at her, rain dripping from her lashes. "This is us," Layla said softly. "Everything else disappears." Elena nodded, her voice barely audible. "Then don't let go." They stood there, close enough that the air between them felt alive. The rain blurred everything except their faces. It wasn't about the storm anymore, it was about the way the sea mirrored them. Unpredictable, beautiful, endless. When the thunder faded, they ran back toward the cafe, breathless, water streaming from their clothes. Layla grabbed a towel, pressing it to Elena's shoulders, laughing again. "You're impossible," she said. "And you're still here," Elena replied, eyes warm. Layla smiled, her voice quiet. "I always will be." The lights inside flickered once more, and then the storm rolled directly overhead. Wind rattled the windows. The sky pulsed with white, but inside, it was calm. The smell of wet earth and coffee filled the room. They sat on the floor beside the counter, sharing a blanket, listening to the storm crash outside. "Do you ever think about what happens next?" Layla asked. Elena tilted her head. "You mean after the sea remembers us?" Layla nodded. Elena thought for a long time. "Maybe it keeps telling our story," she said finally. "Maybe every wave is just another sentence." Layla smiled. "Then I hope it never ends." Elena reached out, brushing a wet strand of hair from Layla's cheek. "It doesn't have to." The thunder softened. The storm began to move out to sea. All that was left was the sound of rain easing into mist. They stayed like that for a while, two women wrapped in quiet warmth, the world outside still glistening. The cafe felt suspended between moments, between what had been and what could still be. Layla rested her head on Elena's shoulder. "You always said the sea remembers everything," she murmured. Elena smiled. "It does. Then I hope it remembers us like this." Elena looked out at the water through the rain-streaked glass. "It will," she whispered, "because we finally stopped running from it." the horizon lightened. A faint shimmer broke through the clouds, catching the wet sand in a glow of soft silver. The first sign of calm. Elena stood and held out her hand. "Come on," she said. Layla took it. Together, they stepped outside again, the last drizzle falling around them like mist. The beach was quiet except for the hush of the receding tide. The storm had left behind a new world, fresh, reflective, alive. Elena turned toward Layla. "This is what I meant," she said. "When everything falls away, it's just us and the sea." Layla looked at her, smiling through the fading rain. "Then let's promise it something." Elena raised an eyebrow. "What kind of promise?" "That we'll keep remembering, even when it's easier to forget." Elena nodded slowly, the weight of the moment sinking in. "I promise." The sea breathed quietly around them. The world was washed clean, the air filled with salt, and the faint warmth of light returning. As they walked along the water's edge, the sun broke through the clouds again, catching them in a halo of soft gold. Their footprints trailed behind, side by side, before the next wave washed them away. And in that fleeting moment, the sea remembered them, two souls who had once found each other in a storm and chose to stay even when it passed. When the world quieted and the last wave reached the shore, it carried their laughter back to the deep where memories live forever. When the sea remembers us the morning after calm, the morning arrived like a sigh. Soft light slid across the surface of the ocean, turning each ripple into liquid gold. The air carried that clean, tender scent that only came after a night of rain, salt, earth, and something faintly sweet, like memory itself. Elena woke first. The caf was quiet except for the soft ticking of the wall clock and the distant hush of waves. Layla was still asleep, her hair spread across the pillow, her face relaxed in the slow rhythm of dreaming. Elena sat up slowly, her blanket sliding off her shoulders. The light caught her skin in a pale shimmer. She watched the sea through the open door, calm now, forgiving, as if the storm had been just a breath between heartbeats. For a moment, she simply listened. The gentle rhythm of waves felt like a pulse. She recognized the same rhythm that had echoed through her since Layla first arrived. She turned and looked at her again. Layla stirred slightly, mumbling something half-formed, a smile touching her lips. Elena leaned down, brushing her fingers gently across her cheek. "Good morning," she whispered. Layla blinked awake, her eyes hazy and soft. "Is it morning already?" "It's our kind of morning," Elena said. "Quiet, stubbornly beautiful, and full of coffee waiting to be made." Layla chuckled and stretched, the blanket slipping away. "You sound like the sea wrote that line." Elena smiled. Maybe it did. The two of them moved slowly, almost in a shared rhythm. Elena started the coffee machine, its soft whir filling the air. Layla opened the windows wider, letting the breeze in, a gentle whisper against their skin. The caf smelled like roasted beans, sea spray, and sunlight on wood. They sat at the counter, sipping coffee in silence for a while. Neither needed to speak. The quiet between them was thick with peace, the kind of silence that feels earned. Layla traced her fingertip along the rim of her cup. "You know," she said finally, "I used to think storms were the scariest thing. Loud, unpredictable, unstoppable." Elena looked up, her eyes calm. "And now I think they're necessary. Maybe the world needs them to remember what still stands afterward." Elena tilted her head, smiling faintly. "And what still stands?" Layla's voice softened. "Us." Outside, the tide reached just far enough to kiss the steps leading down from the caf. The sea was pale turquoise again, soft and endless. Elena stood, walking toward the doorway, cup in hand. "The world looks different today." Layla joined her, leaning against the frame. "It does. Like it forgave us for something we didn't know we'd done." They both laughed quietly, the sound carried away by the breeze. A few locals wandered the beach, gathering driftwood or chasing after dogs, their voices distant. But for Elena and Layla, the world felt like theirs alone, a secret still wrapped in morning light. Layla picked up a seashell from the windowsill, holding it against her ear. "You can still hear it," she said. Elena smiled. "The sea never stops talking." "What do you think it's saying now?" Elena looked toward the horizon. "It's saying, remember this." Layla nodded, turning the shell over in her hands. "Then let's remember it properly." They decided to walk. The sand was still damp beneath their bare feet, the sunlight soft enough to touch. The sea rolled gently beside them, curling at their ankles. Every now and then, Layla would laugh, that kind of laugh that comes from feeling too alive to stay still. They passed the old lifeguard tower, its paint chipped, its ladder creaking in the breeze. Elena stopped there, gazing out at the water. I used to come here when I was younger, she said quietly. Whenever I felt lost. Layla turned to her. Did it help? Sometimes. The sea never fixed anything, but it always listened. Layla stepped closer. Maybe that's why I found you here. Elena looked at her then, eyes reflecting the light off the waves. Maybe that's why I stayed. A long, soft silence passed between them, not empty, but full. The kind of stillness that carries meaning too big for words. Seagulls cried in the distance, the sound almost melodic. The tide crept higher, the foam brushing against their toes. Layla reached for Elena's hand. Do you ever wonder how long moments like this can last? Elena smiled. They last exactly as long as we remember them. Layla squeezed her hand gently. Then let's make it a long one. They walked again, slower this time, following the curve of the beach until they reached the edge of the rocks. There, the water deepened into blue, reflecting the sky like glass. Elena sat down on a flat stone, motioning for Layla to join her. You know, she said softly, I think the sea remembers people who listen to it. Layla laughed. Then we'll be remembered forever. Elena looked at her. Would you want that? Layla's expression softened. Only if it means we'll always find our way back here. The wind lifted their hair, tangling it together like seaweed. The horizon shimmered with light, the golden hour beginning to bloom again. Layla rested her head against Elena's shoulder. Do you ever think about what we'll be like years from now? Elena chuckled. Still chasing the sea, still burning the coffee. Layla smiled. Still remembering the storm? Always. They watched the water move, the rhythm slow and steady. A pair of dolphins surfaced briefly in the distance, their sleek forms gliding through the sunlit waves before disappearing again. Layla whispered, even they remember. Elena closed her eyes. Everything that matters always does. For a while, they said nothing. The light shifted, painting the sea in shades of peach and gold. The calf behind them looked small now, almost like part of the shore. Eventually, they walked back, barefoot and content. The air was still warm, carrying the faint scent of flowers from the dunes. At the calf door, Layla turned to Elena. Promise me something? Elena smiled. Another one? Layla nodded. Promise me that no matter where we go next, we'll keep finding mornings like this, ones that make the world feel like it is still worth falling in love with. Elena didn't hesitate. I promise. They stood there for a moment, framed by the soft light and the sound of the sea, as if the world had paused to witness the vow. And when they finally went inside, laughter and warmth filled the little cafe again. To women, one sea, and a morning that refused to fade. Because when the sea remembers you, it never really lets go.